you. And developing right now at noon, a deadly discovery in Coral Springs after the city's vice mayor was found dead in her home.
And new here at noon, her husband appearing in court today. He is facing a murder charge after being taken into custody in Plantation. Let's go to Local 10's Jeff Dedarian.
He's outside of the Broward jail in Fort Lauderdale with more.
Is he grieving or guilty? The husband of the vice mayor of Coral Springs now facing charges of premeditated murder. And that's not all.
Mr. Bowen, good morning, sir. You're charged with 1 count first-degree premeditated murder. You're also charged with 1 count tampering with or fabricating physical evidence.
55 seconds. That's how long the bond hearing lasted this morning for Stephen Bowen. Standing silent, his lawyer does the talking. Murder and messing with physical evidence are the charges. Sky 10 hovers over the neighborhood Wednesday afternoon. A quaint neighborhood 1 minute, a crime scene the next, and not.
On June 2024, residents of Miramar were shaken by the sudden disappearance of a well-known and respected community leader. Her name was Nancy Metayer Bowen, a woman described by friends and colleagues as vibrant, dedicated, and deeply committed to her family and public service. At first, her disappearance raised concern, but within days, that concern turned into fear. And soon after, it became a devastating reality. What began as a missing person case quickly evolved into a murder investigation, one that would point to someone closest to her. Nancy Metayer Bowen was known for her intelligence, warmth, and determination. She built a life centered on service, education, and family. Before her death, she served as a city commissioner in Miramar, a role that reflected her dedication to improving her community and advocating for others. Colleagues described her as passionate about public service, focused on community development, committed to making meaningful change. Nancy's work often involved addressing issues that impacted families, neighborhoods, and local governance. She was not just a public official. She was someone who genuinely cared about the people she served. At the heart of Nancy's life was her family. She was a mother of 3 children, and those close to her say motherhood was one of her greatest joys. Despite the demands of her career, she remained actively involved in her children's lives, supporting their education, guiding them, and providing a stable home. Nancy was also married. From the outside, her marriage appeared normal, even stable. But as investigators would later uncover, not everything inside the home was as it seemed. Like many cases of domestic violence, the warning signs were not immediately visible to the public. In the days before her disappearance, Nancy continued her routine as usual, attending meetings, communicating with colleagues, engaging with her family. Nothing publicly suggested that something was wrong. However, investigators would later examine her phone records, personal communications, movements in the hours leading up to her disappearance. These details would become critical in piecing together what happened. Nancy was reported missing after failing to return home and missing scheduled commitments, something that was completely out of character for her. Concern quickly spread among family members, colleagues, local officials. Search efforts began almost immediately. Law enforcement treated the case with urgency, given her public role and the unusual nature of her disappearance. As investigators dug deeper, they focused on those closest to Nancy. In many missing person cases, statistics show that the perpetrator is often someone known to the victim. This case would prove no different. Attention soon turned to her husband. Suspicion within the home. Authorities began to notice inconsistencies. Key factors raised suspicion: conflicting statements, unusual behavior, gaps in the timeline. Investigators carefully analyzed
surveillance footage,
digital evidence, physical evidence. Piece by piece, the case began to form. In a tragic turn, Nancy's body was later discovered, confirming the worst fears of her family and community. The case officially shifted from a missing person investigation to a homicide. The discovery brought both grief and urgency, the need for justice, arrest and charges. Following the investigation, Nancy's husband was arrested and charged in connection with her death. Authorities alleged that the crime occurred within the home. The suspect attempted to conceal evidence. Efforts were made to mislead investigators. While full details of the motive remain part of ongoing legal proceedings, the case reflects a pattern often seen in domestic homicide cases: conflict behind closed doors that escalates into violence. The news sent shockwaves through Miramar. Residents struggled to reconcile the loss of a respected leader with the circumstances of her death. Vigils were held in her honor. Community members gathered to remember her life, not just her tragic end. Her colleagues described her as a voice for the people, a dedicated public servant, a loving mother. For her children, the loss was unimaginable. Understanding the deeper issues, cases like Nancy Metayer Bowen's are part of a broader and troubling pattern. Domestic violence behind closed doors. Many relationships that appear normal on the outside may hide. Emotional abuse, controlling behavior, escalating conflict. These issues often go unnoticed until it is too late. The escalation cycle. Domestic violence often follows a pattern. Tension builds. Conflict escalates. Violence occurs. Temporary calm follows. Without intervention, this cycle can become more dangerous over time. Why victims may stay silent. Victims of domestic conflict may not speak out due to fear, financial dependence, concern for children, hope that things will improve. Understanding this helps explain why warning signs may not be visible. Lessons and prevention. This tragedy offers powerful lessons that can help prevent similar cases. 1. Recognize early warning signs. Signs of potential danger include controlling behavior, isolation from friends and family, sudden personality changes, repeated conflicts. Lesson: take these signs seriously, they often escalate. Encourage open communication. Friends and family should create safe spaces for loved ones to speak openly. Lesson: listening without judgment can save lives. 3. Seek help early. Professional support such as counseling or domestic violence services can intervene before situations worsen. Lesson: early action is critical. For safety planning. For individuals in unstable relationships, share concerns with trusted people. Have an emergency plan. Maintain access to communication. 5. Community awareness. Communities must educate about domestic violence. Provide accessible support services. Encourage reporting of suspicious situations. 6. Protecting children. Children are often silent victims in domestic conflicts. Lesson: their safety must always come first. Final reflection: a life that mattered. The story of Nancy Metayer Bowen is not just about how she died. It is about how she lived. A mother, a leader, a woman who dedicated her life to her community. Her death is a painful reminder that danger can exist even in familiar spaces. But her story can also be a force for change. Behind every headline is a life, a family, and a story that deserved a different ending. And sometimes, the greatest justice we can offer is learning how to prevent the next tragedy. If you care about accountability, subscribe to True Crime Echoes channel. In case you are new here or wherever you are watching from, subscribe. What will make Nancy's husband to murder his own wife? What disagreement would bring about the thought to do that? Do you think he was manipulated or what? If this case makes you think twice, click on the subscribe button. Share this story for a moment. Thank you for watching. Turn on the notifications. Stay safe and stay vigilant.